Welcome back to a new episode of Tommy's Turf Talks. If you've ever spent any time looking into proper lawn maintenance, you definitely have come across the idea of lawn aeration. You might not have spent too much time looking into it, might not know that much about it. Well, it's a good thing you decided to tune in to Tom Turf today. I'm just your average dad who's a nut about lawns. And today I'm going to go over everything that you never knew that you were dying to know about lawn aeration and overseeding. Before we get into all about lawn aeration and overseeding, the World Wide Web always tells me I need to remind you folks that if you're enjoying this content as much as you do sliding into a nice warm bubble bath, you got to make sure to hit that subscribe, like, and share button. And like always, if you have any questions, such as why it is always so important to keep the thermostat 4 to 5 degrees outside of a comfortable range, make sure you leave comments down in the comment section, and I'll get back to you as soon as I possibly can. All right, let's get into lawn aeration and overseeding. The aerator that I'm using today to aerate the lawn is a Stinger Easy Air 19. It is a 19-inch core aerator, walk behind, hydraulic driven. So, step one of performing an aeration on your property is either hire someone to do it or go out and rent one from any of your local rental shops. They should have some aerations on hand for you to rent. Or, of course, you could always buy one. That tends to be a little bit more expensive, but if you're really into your lawn, by all means, go out and buy your own equipment. Facebook Marketplace is a great place to find some used equipment. Or your rental shops will also be cycling through inventory every now and then, so you may be able to find some cheaper options of purchasing aerators from your rental shops. There are two main types of aerators out there that you'll see. There are spike aerators and core aerators. Spike aerators are exactly what they sound like. There are tons of little spikes that will go across the lawn and will create little small holes in your soil. Core aerators are made up of many different hollow tines. These tines go into the ground, and when they come back up, they're pulling soil up with them. These are called plugs. Now, spike aerators can be beneficial. They'll get the job done, but they're not going to have as many benefits as a core aerator will. This is because the spike aerators are just making holes in the lawn. They're not bringing any soil up. So they will help to aerify the soil. They will give a little bit of room for those roots to grow into, but the very nature of them going down and just coming right back up can cause more compaction on the sides of that hole, making it more difficult for roots to move into. They're a lot easier to use, a lot easier to get. You can buy manual ones online. You can get ones that attach to your shoes. You can buy pull behind ones or powered ones for much cheaper than you can a core aerator. So why is a core aerator better than a spike aerator? Well, the core aerator is creating larger holes. So by its very nature, more oxygen, more water, more nutrients is able to get down into that root zone due to the larger hole that it's creating. It will also reduce compaction at a much better level than a spike aerator will. And those dirt plugs that it's pulling up and dropping back on your turf is great food for the turf and great to increase microorganism activity. And also, if you're going to do an overseed after your aeration, you need to use a core aerator. You cannot use a spike. The core aerator will help drop those plugs, so when you go through and you overseed, you're getting some good seed to soil contact with your new seed. Next, if you have an in-ground irrigation system or a dog fence, you're going to want to go out and flag that system. So for the dog fence, if you don't know where the dog fence is, you'll have to track it and find out where the wire is. But you're going to want to put flags along the path of the dog fence so you don't hit that and pull it up. For irrigation systems, all you got to do is turn on your irrigation and put a flag wherever you see a head or where you see a valve box. You're not going to hit the pipes down below underground, and you're not going to hit the wire if the system was installed correctly. But you will hit heads and you will hit valve boxes, so you're going to want to put flags out for those. Then, of course, you just start the machine up and start going back and forth just like you would if you were mowing your lawn. And that, folks, is lawn aerating. If you have a lawn that's very highly compacted, or you just want to double the benefits of this aeration, you can always do a double aeration. And that would mean just going in one direction, and then when you're done, going perpendicular in the other direction. This will greatly help with compaction problems, with thatch problems, and if you have a thin lawn and need to put down a heavier overseed, then doing a double aeration will bring up so many more of those plugs, so you will get better seed to soil contact if you're doing that double aeration. You may be asking, why is it so important to poke all these little holes in your lawn like it's a villain from a Rambo movie just getting obliterated with bullets? Well, it's because that one single task of aerating your lawn does so many beneficial things for your soil and for your grass. Well, first off, it does exactly what it sounds like it does. It aerifies your soil. So when that tine goes down and pulls the core out and leaves behind that hole immediately fills with oxygen and other beneficial elements that bring nutrients to your root zone. Second, an aeration will help loosen the soil up. Every year we're mowing the lawn, we're walking on the lawn, and all this activity is causing compaction in the soil. Compacted soil is harder for roots to get down deep and spread out and grow as thick as they possibly can. So by aerifying your soil, you're loosening that soil up and making it easier for those roots to be able to get down as deep as possible. Deeper roots means a more resilient grass plant and a more healthier grass plant. While it's loosening the soil to make it easier for roots to grow, you're also taking a little bit of soil out of the ground that will allow more room for those roots to grow horizontally. I just put hundreds and hundreds of holes in my lawn, and now my roots have more room to grow. They are gonna grow thicker, they're gonna grow deeper, and this is gonna make my grass more resilient to withstand heat stress. It's gonna make it better to withstand drought stress, better to withstand diseases, and overall just be a thicker, lusher lawn. Now, a big thing that you hear everybody talking about online and out at lawn and garden stores is thatch. Now, later on in another episode, we'll go deeper into what thatch is, but a lot of people have the wrong idea about thatch. They think that it's just a dead grass that's on the lawn. Not really that. It's a little bit deeper than that. But by performing an aeration, you are going to increase the microorganism activity in the lawn. By doing this, you're going to increase how quickly and how efficiently organic matter is broken down. So if you do happen to have a high thatch level in your lawn, just strictly by aerating the lawn, you're going to naturally reduce that thatch level. This is a much better option than using a power to thatcher. Those power to thatchers that are always raved about are not that great for your lawn. They tend to tear up a lot of the good material in the lawn along with the thatch. So to summarize, doing an aeration every year, or at least every other year, is one of the best things that you can do to your lawn. It's gonna help your lawn stay thicker. It's gonna help your lawn be more resilient against heat stress, drought stress, and diseases. It's gonna help your roots grow as deep and healthy and thick as possible. So, as the kids say, aeration is dank. Now, after you're done with the aeration, it's always a great idea to do an overseed. You do not want to do an overseed of your lawn if you're not doing an aeration or a top dressing or something. You need to increase the amount of soil that's present and available for that seed to come in contact with. If you're just going to overseed the lawn without doing anything, aeration or top seed, you might as well just throw your money away. You're not going to get good seed germination, not going to make much of a difference. But if you're doing a fall aeration, it's always a good idea to spend the extra little bit of money and do an overseed as well. When you're doing a general overseed, 2 to 3 pounds of seed per 1,000 square foot is a good rule of thumb. Now, if you have a really thick lawn, you could go to the 2-pound rate. If your lawn's a little bit thinner, you should go at the 3-pound rate. Now, you're not going to see an immediate difference like you would with a spot seed when you're doing an overseed. If you were to take a picture of your lawn now and a picture of your lawn in about 3 years after you've done an aeration and overseed every single fall, you will definitely notice the difference. But it's not going to be immediate. The general maintenance practice, keep your lawn thick and healthy. Now, if you have a really thin lawn and you want to see immediate results with that, then you can still do aeration and overseeds. I would just recommend doing that double aeration on the entire property. and then putting the seed down at a much higher rate. So if it's bare ground, you'll want to go at the 8 to 10 pounds of seed per 1,000. If it's pretty thin, but you still got grass there, you could float around the 6-pound rate. But no matter what rate you do, if you're gonna really want to see some grass coming in, I would recommend whatever existing turf you have to mow quite a bit shorter than you normally do, so that more sunlight gets down where the seed is at. And then also make sure that you turn your sprinklers or your irrigation onto a seeding cycle, so that you're watering 10 to 15 minutes a couple times a day, every day, until you see the majority of that seed coming up. Now, on a general overseed, I'm just going to water like normal. You know, a lot of that seed that I'm going to put down is going to come up now. Some is going to come up in the spring. Some will come up in a couple years. But if I keep doing this year after year, then there's just always seed there that's available to start growing and germinating and keeping my lawn nice and thick. Well, guys, that's a wrap on this episode of Tommy's Turf Talks. You know, I'm sorry that I did not get this episode out on this past Friday like I said I was going to. I'm still learning with this process. We had some issues with weather. I still have 2 young kids at home, so they take up a bunch of my time. I just did not get around to it. But I still got it out, if not just a couple days late. I'm going to try to find my groove as we go along here and try to post on a more regular, consistent basis. But I hope you guys enjoyed this week's episode. I hope that you learned something about how to properly aerate and overseed your lawn. I hope that you learned about the benefits of doing this as often as you can. If you have any questions, like I said earlier in the video, please leave them down in the comment section. And I will try to pump out more content as the weeks go on here, and keep all you Tommy Turf Talk aficionados fed as well as possible. All right, we'll see you guys. Have a great week.